Techniques. Today, me and Jessica Jess Silly 69 are going to be showing you the 10 top technique tips you can do to set up your deadlift before the barbell even leaves the ground to help you be safer, stronger, and even more fucking jacked. Let's get to it. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. Now, the deadlift should definitely be one of the major lifts that are in your arsenal to be growing your ass with your lifts, and if you're trying to build a beautiful and strong physique. Now, I don't generally like overcomplicating things. However, the deadlift can be a pretty complex and complicated lift, and there are a few little technique tips that I have developed and like to cue people to be able to go through on their deadlifts that we're going to be breaking down into 10 different steps. Now, it's going to kind of seem a little bit excessive and it might seem like a lot. However, all of these 10 steps will eventually just become automatic to you when you're setting up. So we're going to be breaking down what normally would take somebody about 3 or 4 seconds into a long video with 10 different tips. So Jessica Jess Silly 69, are you ready to rumble?
Yep.
Bit more energy, Jess, come on! God, let's get to it. Tip number 1 is approaching the bar. Now, a lot of people make the mistake of standing too far away from the bar before they pull. So, what we want to do is make sure that when we're coming up nice and close, we are going to be having that bar practically touching our shins. If not, that's okay, but you want to ideally be looking for that barbell to be cutting your feet in half. So no more than about an inch away from your shins when you're stepping up into the barbell. If it's too far away, you're going to be putting excessive stress onto your lower back. Now, if you are pulling conventional, which we're going to be demonstrating today, you would step around about shoulder width, and that's probably going to be comfortable for most people. However, if you were to be pulling sumo, you would take a slightly wider stance. You would also turn your toes out. Jump out for me there, Jess. Perfect, and really driving and pushing those knees out. But again, you'll see the shins are very, very close to the barbell. Tip number 2 is learning to hip hinge and shoot your hips back when you're coming down to pick the bar up. A lot of people make the mistake of turning a deadlift into a squat, and when they come down, they bend the knees instead of shooting the hips back, which is what they should be doing first. So, what I want you to be focusing on is just shooting those hips all the way back while maintaining a nice flat back here, and also noticing that the knees haven't bent at all yet. The shins are still vertical, she's shooting the hips back, and she's trying to focus on feeling a nice big stretch through those hamstrings. Now, one cue that I like adding to this particular movement, which is not something that you need to do all the time, but when you first learn, it's a good idea to give it a whirl. So, I get people to interlock their hands behind their back and pull their shoulder blades down. This is going to promote a nice flat spine the whole way through, but making sure that we don't arch the chest up. We can bring the shoulder blades back and we pull them down like so. From here, this is going to keep that nice neutral spine position. Just shoot those hips back as far as you can, acting like you're trying to touch your butt to the wall, far as you can, until you feel like that stretch in the hamstrings isn't going to allow you to go any further, and you would start to, that's about it. Lose your positioning or your stability. Feels pretty good there, Jess? Not too bloody bad. Technique tip number 3 is once we have loaded those hips and we are ready to rock, it is time to start getting those hands ready to grab the bar. So we are going to be bringing the arms down and by our side. Now if we're pulling conventional, the hands are going to be just outside the thighs. And what we're looking for is making those arms as long and tall as possible. So we don't want them to be out here, we don't want them to be in here, we definitely don't want them to be in front of the knees. So just outside the knees for our conventional pulls and keeping them long and tall. Now if we're pulling a sumo, then we're actually going to be keeping the hands in the same position and just taking a wider stance with the legs, and we're keeping the arms in almost exactly the same spot. A little wider for me, Jess, about there. Alright. Tip number 4, and now we're so fucking close to the bar. However, this is where a lot of people fuck up their deadlift. So, what we want to be doing here is making sure that when we descend and lower down to the bar, that we do bend from the knees a little bit. However, we don't shift our weight forward. So, Jess is going to do it the correct way first by getting into position, keeping our arms long, and just lowering her body mildly to be able to grab the bar. without shooting her knees forward and without shifting her weight forward into her toes. Now, stand up again for me, Jess. Back into position, do the same thing, but this time, when you come down, I want you to bend and grab the bar like that. Yep, coming all the way down. Now, as you can see, Jess's knees travel forward, and so did the bar. Stand back up for me, Jess. If you do this and you do it incorrectly, when you stand back up, the barbell is going to be a couple of inches away from your feet, and that's not what we want. We already learned we want to keep it tight. So, into position again for me, Jess. Hips back, and now we just descend by lowering our body down, grabbing that barbell, making sure we're still ensuring that nice flat back the entire way through the lift, and that is where we lower ourselves down to the bar, and that is how you set up properly for your pull. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now our hands are finally on the barbell and we are in position, and we're up to tip number 5. Now these next 3 tips are my secret little tips and tricks that I teach people who've been deadlifting for years, and they almost always say, holy shit, I've never felt so tight and so strong and so secure and so fucking jacked in my deadlifts. So the tip number 1 out of those 3, tip number 5 in this list is to pull our elbows in. Now, it doesn't actually have anything to do with the elbows, but it has more to do with the actual scapula and scooping that scapula under so we can create some tightness and stiffness through that upper back. The back and all through the lats role in our deadlift is to make sure we stay tight, we stay strong, we stay secure and rigid without our spine moving. So, by scooping the elbows in, it reinforces that shoulder blade to scoop under, create a little bit of tightness through the upper back so it can stay strong and stable within the lift. And tip number 6, we're going in and we're going to be getting these armpits, okay? Because we've already got those shoulder blades and that scapula nice and scooped up and under and ready to rock and roll. That upper back's feeling nice and tight. Now, to reinforce that, we're going to be doing what's called pits to pockets. What does pits to pockets mean? What does it mean? Well, do a reverse shrug and get your armpits, boom, down towards your pockets. Now that is going to reinforce all of those lats coming on really, really tight and support and strengthen all through the erectors and vertebrae, again, to make sure that we are staying strong, staying tight, and staying rigid all through that spine and all through that back before we commence the pull. So, elbows in, pits to pockets. Tip number 6 is probably one of the most underused and overlooked cues with our deadlifts, which is funny because we want to be making sure we're activating our glutes as much as possible in a deadlift. I know that for a fact because I'm the fucking glute guru. Now, speaking of glutes, your glutes do a few things, and they are one of the prime movers within a deadlift because they contribute to hip extension. So the glutes stretch and they come back and forth like so. But that's not all they do, and we want to make sure our glutes are as active as possible within a deadlift. So Jessica, do me a favor, lift your right leg off the ground and grab it at your booty. Alrighty, kick that leg back. Now all I want you to do is turn that toe out like this. Boom. Could you feel your butt move?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that's pretty cool. Now, do me a favor, put your foot back on the ground, stamp it down there. Alright, now, let your knee go really lazy, alrighty? Now even just let your knee just go straight, okay? Now, push your knee out as hard as you can. Did you feel your butt activate? Holy shit. So what we want to do when we're deadlifting is make sure that we are activating those external rotation forces before we pull the bar off the ground. That is going to get those glutes even more active. So 1, they contribute more to our deadlift and we get better glute activation. And 2, the glutes let all through the lower back know, hey, bro, it's all good lower back. I got this. I'm coming in right and ready for before the lift to make sure that I'm going to be doing my part within this movement. So, tip number 4 is elbows in. Tip number 5, pits to pockets. Sorry for the spit, Jess. Tip number 6 is knees out into the elbows. Now, it doesn't have to be anything too excessive, but even just a mild little boop out to get those glutes active and on will make a massive, massive difference to how much your glutes are working and how much you feel your glutes within a deadlift. Can you feel that, Jess?
Yes.
Yes, she can. It's a yes from Jess. Tip number 7. Jess, where's my extra 2? There it is! Is to learn to brace your core and deeply breathe into your diaphragm before we pull the bar off the ground. Now, what I don't want to see is breathing like this and then flaring the rib cage and coming all up like so. We need to learn to breathe into our diaphragm, which is just below the ribs, and then stay strong, and brace. So, Jessica, before we're gonna be applying attention to that barbell, I want you to apply attention to your body. So, deep breath in, feel that air, and then hold, and then push and brace out into your abs, just like someone's about to, punch you in the gut. So if you're not too sure what it's supposed to look like, Jess, I'm about to punch you in the gut, brace your gut, exactly like that. So that's all you have to pretend. Come on, pick it up. Oh my God, don't punch me. Be strong. All right, I think I fucked up the number order, but I'm pretty sure we're up to step number 9 now. So if the order doesn't make sense, well, soz, not soz. Anyway, we are about to lift the barbell up. We are in the correct positions. We have created tightness through our back. We've activated our core. We are braced through our core and our glutes. Everything's going on. But before we pull the bar off the ground, we want to apply tension to the barbell after we've applied all that tension to our body so we can become one with the barbell. And that is why tip number 9 is to learn to pull the slack out of the bar. You see, you want to start to apply a little bit of tension by hitting a little bit of a chink and squeezing that bar up and into you before you actually lift the barbell off the ground. So Jess, completely relax with me and then get tight, pull the slack out of the bar. Boom, just like that. Now you probably can't hear it, but with some barbells you'll hear a little clink. And that is what you want to be focusing on. So even if I'm pulling really lightweight, like this measly 40 kilos, oh, Jess, it's okay. You're still fucking pretty strong. You just can't pull 220 kilos like I can. Fucking jacked. Anyway, we want to be coming up and then going boop, boop, and then I'm applying tension to the bar, but this 40 kilos hasn't left the ground yet. Now, boop, we come into the last step, which I'm going to tell you in a second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. We are up to the 10th tip. We are in the right position. Our glutes are active, our core is on. We are tight through our back. We are braced. We've pulled the slack out of the bar. And tip number 10 is a deadlift. Boom! Just like so. Now, this whole process is a complicated one even within itself. However, Jessica, keep doing some reps for me because you already do them so brilliantly. Get into position and pull the bar off the ground. Now, the initial pull off the ground, we want to make sure that we're thinking about driving our legs into the ground. And imagine we're almost leg pressing the world away. So push with the legs first until the bar gets to the knees. And then when the bar does get to the knees, that's when we're going to snap the hips through. So we think about push to the knees, and then pull through from the hips, squeeze those glutes to lock out, stay tight through the back, descend on the way down, up again for me, Jess, up, through, descend the movement, first with the hips, then with the knees. So it goes, legs, hips, hips, legs. And the breaking point is almost always going to be the knees right there. Now, I'm not going to go into too much depth about this. That's just a quick little tutorial on how to deadlift. However, this whole fucking video has been all the 10 steps and the minute details to get into that position before we actually pull the bar off the ground. Good fucking job, Jess. Hit me. Oh. Ow, fuck. Alrighty guys, well hopefully you enjoyed that little tutorial. Like I said, it is quite excessive, but once you learn and master these 10 tips turn into a 2-second setup. And it is going to be turning you into a much safer, a much stronger, and a much more, come on, jacked fucking lifter. So enjoy them, apply them to your lifts, try them out, don't get too confused, and go with the flow. And hey, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and you know what they say, YouTube, scrub it up on YouTube. Ah!